So this is what unmanaged looks like in a native forest. Sans the invasion of the broom. Branches on the ground, leaves collecting, and these are places where erosion is slowed and seeds collect and natives grow. Other things grow, as you can see here on the ground. But this is it. Nothing catastrophic if it burns. It's not going to move fast. It's not going to move hot. Quite safe. So here we have a bit of a trail, and we're right in the middle of an unmanaged woodland. It goes further on back that way. It's quite beautiful. As you can see, it's unmanaged. Everything just drops, falls to the ground, and lies there, but it's not particularly abnormal and would be easy to manage. Coming back along the trail the other way, we can move towards the eucalyptus. And here's what we have. There's your native forest. There's your invasive broom. And there are your eucalyptus trees way up there behind it. But what's important here is what they're dropping on the ground and the way they're doing it. Here, this is just right on the edge, but you can see here the branches and the leaves and the bark, how it drapes down. Now here we have a bigger tree. See, branches fall down, they get caught in other trees, and then you have ladder fuels. And a lot of your ladder fuels are your native trees here, made more dangerous by the bark that falls and drapes and hangs from them. You can see here on the ground of the trail, seeing that big poison oak bush. Much more ground fuel. And coming up, right up the slope. And this is common. This is ordinary here. All this bark. Here we have one that came down. This is what an unmanaged grove looks like underneath. Lots and lots of ground fuel everywhere. So that's another thing to note about these trees is they have shallow roots, so they they do tend to fall a lot. So that increases the cost of managing them. And when they do, as you can see here, it's just firewood stacked up ready to go. You have a nice good blaze going here. You see how these trees are growing real close together. Yeah, so that would be, you get a flame, good roaring flame going in between those, and it burned for hours. Here's another one that's fallen down here, going over this way. Yeah, this is it's just stacks and stacks of kindling ready to go. Lots of brush underneath. This is what happens. This is what it is. Now, who would make the argument that this in any way is as manageable as what we were looking at? Well, this is just average here. See how the bark catches on everything below, hangs there? This is dry stuff here. Everything below gets draped in eucalyptus bark. There's a buckeye. Not a lot of these survive down here. This was a tough one. Should be nice to give it a hand. This is all a real good air-fuel mixture here. See, this is a lot of space in there. It's all probably, you could dig down 8 to 12 inches. In some places higher, maybe even 2 feet, but it's all, especially in the summertime, gets really, really dry. All this stuff that it drops on the ground, this stuff will support a very hot fire that will move fast. And you see you've got ladder fuels right here. You got all kinds of ladder fuels to get you up into the canopy. The trees themselves, just all by themselves, the way they grow and propagate, are a fire hazard. Well, that's what's left of the trail. As you can see, it's a lot of bark and duff all on the ground. And you got your dead branches, and lots of them. Everything leading up eventually all the way up. And there's where the top of your flames are hitting. Catching this pine over here. You've got more on this side, and then there's the top of your flames. There's your crowns. And this is about the biggest poison oak bush I think I've ever seen. The base down there of the stalk of this tree, poison oak tree I would have to call it. Let me move around to the other side of it. Maneuver around more deadfall here. Crunch, crack. See, that's a dead branch that just broke off of that tree right there. It's a very, very, very tall tree, but this is what they do. They lose their branches, they grow close together, and so they, as the wind blows and they sway, they rub against each other, even their own branches. But look at this poison oak here. That is one big, impressive bush. That is all poison oak plant. Wow. So then we're on the edge of the grove, and another point about this, the leaves and the bark, is that they don't really break down. There's not a lot of microbes, especially in this part of the world. that digest them, although I suppose that is changing, hopefully. But in the meantime, it doesn't make us any more safer from fire. This is what's known as scrubland, and that little euc tree right there, that little sucker, it should be 60, 80 feet tall in 10 years. They grow very fast. And obviously this is a seedling, and we have more seedlings back there. So this grove is definitely expanding. Here on the west side, as you can see, we have a nice oak tree. Step in the back here, get a nice look at it. It's got a partner right here. Well, you got eucalyptus is still, because they're here, we're on the edge. You still have duff and debris from the eucalyptus. But what you have under the oak primarily is just not a lot to burn. It's just leaves decomposing on the ground, a few branches and stuff like that. Not a lot to burn. Now, sorry about the light filters, but here we are on the edge. We're on the west side here, and you can see what we just went through, what we're looking at right next to it. The difference is stark. That's what you have with an unmanaged native woodland. It's open, it's up from the ground, and it doesn't require us to do anything. It maintains itself. Now back into the eucalyptus. This is what piles up. And it piles up. And with the broom, those are the ladder fuels. The bark hanging on the trees below. This little oak. It's done well, but this is what you're looking at on the ground. And they just go right up. All the way to the crown. So managing these eucalyptus would mean that all these little trees here, somebody's kite, they don't have to go. You know, all these little trees, take all of them out. Maybe even this bay right here, since it could. Those are ladder fuels to get up to that canopy way up there, which is what we fear, because that's what when you get a crown fire like that, you can't pour water on them fast enough. They just burn. But here's a really good example. Back in beyond there, you can see how it just all drapes down. Come around this tree, see if I can get a clear line of sight. See how the bark just drapes down. And that tree goes up and up and up. That tree's probably at least 150, 180 feet. It's tall. It's tall, and it's on a really steep slope. Now, here, something big force hit these trees. It's cracked right there. Big crack right there. Wonder what that was. Big one there that's down. You can see there's plenty of little trees. When these eucalyptus go, they're going to fill in and take over here. They just need to open up the space and let them in. Let the sun shine. Let them have the water and the nutrients. This is a very steep area here. This tree, you can see it was pretty big when it fell. And there's bigger ones behind it. And as all this falls, it just stacks up like kindling. There we go. More big trees have fallen behind. And these trees are actually pretty sick too. They're being not so much here but further up the canyon, but you can see here the beetles are here. That leaf is being eaten. Yeah, it's not as heavy as further up the canyon, but yeah, there's a beetle that's eating these the leaves, so that is sort of making the trees sick. So this one here I remember falling from last year, and these two little oak trees here that it's fallen on, they're not doing so good. Pretty sparse foliage there for oak trees that big, but I think they'll survive, especially if we get all this stuff off of them. But further back in here, that one there, that's a new fall. That just fell this year. So I think these trees are, well, they're obviously, this is just a ton of fuel on the ground with ladders to get it up and spread it everywhere. So, I mean, that's the choice. What is there to argue? You have this, or you have this.